So bear in mind that all our words, all our actions will have consequences. And if you remind yourself, am I strong enough to tell the truth? Or am I a coward or a weak that I'm going to tell a lie and get away with it? And I don't mean to give you absolute rules, because life is not about absolutes. It's baffling, it's incomprehensible to imagine all kinds of households that are there, and some are very abusive ones, and children live sometimes with very difficult set of parents where it's impossible to just be productive or creative or be truthful at all. But all other things being equal, it boils down to really understanding, am I strong enough to tell the truth? His question is a good one, actually. It is that, how can we avoid telling lies? By not telling them. That's the first easy way out. You see, one thing you really have to understand is the price you have to pay when you lie. It's a massive one. A lie will weaken your spiritual consciousness. The question then becomes, how can you avoid it? And what is a lie after all? If you know something to be the truth, and you state it in good faith, believing it to be true, when in fact it wasn't true, that's not considered a lie. That's simply a misplaced truth. You didn't know any better. You simply shared what you thought was true at the time. When you exaggerate something, that's a lie, because it's no longer truth. It's no longer the truth. And there was this survey done where it turned out that within the first few minutes of two adults talking when they first time meet, they tell up to 5 lies within the first few minutes each. If you are earning 50,000, people have a tendency to say, oh, about 70,000. If your net worth is 5 CR, 5 crores, you'll say, oh, about 10. So people have a tendency to overstate. This lady had a Volvo car. They're considered to be the safest cars, at least they were at one point in time. Now, she was driving and she got near a parking spot. She thought, I'll park my car right in. And there was another boy. He was driving a Maruti 800. And before she could park in, he came, zoop, and he parked right there like Mr. Bean. And she rolled her window down. It was a power window. She rolled her window down and said, why did you do that for? He said, because I'm young and I'm quick. Because I'm young and I'm quick. She said, fine. So he walks away. Soon he hears a very loud sound. He turns around and the lady had smashed his little car. And she said, because I'm old and rich. You did what you could afford. I'm doing what I can afford. So when we talk about lies, it's in fact interesting. I even wrote about it in one of my books or posts. There's a fair bit of research that's been done which shows it's a developmental milestone. We tend to think that people tell lies because they've learned it from their parents. There is some truth in it, but not a great deal. Children tend to learn to lie on their own as they hit a certain age. Why? Because they know it's the easiest way to get out of trouble. Did you do it? I didn't. Well, there's that. So If at home there was an atmosphere where truth is encouraged, then children will speak the truth. But if the kind of environment at home is that if you tell the truth, you will be punished, then of course, as a child, you would say, why bother? Why to tell the truth? Let me somehow avoid it because it's going to lead to chaos at home. I'll be beaten up, or I'll be punished, or I'll be whatever. So you can avoid telling lies by first avoiding the action that would potentially lead you to tell a lie. That's the first thing. As I wrote, it's much harder to come out than it is to go in, not go in at all. When you're in a problem, the time to do the thinking is before you step into the puddle. That I'm going to clean my dress now. So once you're in it, it's always harder to come out of a problem than it is to not go in at all. So bear in mind that all our words, all our actions will have consequences. And if you remind yourself, am I strong enough to tell the truth? Or am I a coward or a weak that I'm going to tell a lie and get away with it? And I don't mean to give you absolute rules, because life is not about absolutes. It's baffling. It's incomprehensible to imagine all kinds of households that are there, and some are very abusive ones, and children live sometimes with very difficult set of parents where it's impossible to just be productive or creative or be truthful at all. But all other things being equal, it boils down to really understanding, am I strong enough to tell the truth? Because telling the truth requires courage. Telling the truth requires strength. So you can either be that, or you can be a politician. So that's your career choice. If you wish to just... Have you seen they never admit their mistakes? Any government in power will never admit that they did anything wrong. But if you confess, if you admit, look, I messed up, I plan to do it differently, it will give you strength. Suddenly your mind is not battling with what could have been, should have been, or whom did I tell what. It's simply focused on what you ought to do. And that gives you strength. So one good way to avoid is take a small resolution, resolve that for the next 3 days, I'm not going to tell lies no matter what. And then stick with it no matter what. And then you'll gain the strength. So many times I'm asked about mantra siddhi and whatnot. What most seekers conveniently ignore or forget that on 1st of January 2011, I took the vow of not telling a lie. And that is the basis of all tapas. And then I made it my conscious practice to choose compassion over any other emotion when responding to anything that anybody throws at me. That is the second pillar of all sadhana, of all attainment. The rest are simply methods that you don't even have to worry about. It's really how you lead each moment of your life and turn that into sadhana. So telling the truth or speaking truth is the greatest sadhana. And I'm not the first one to say it, Sacha barabar tap nahi, jhoot barabar paap, right? So it's the greatest penance out there. And there is no sin greater than telling lies. I think that Kabir said that, or Rahim Kabir most likely. Jaake hriday sacha hai, taake hriday aap. That you live in, Lord, in the heart that's full of truth and that's truthful. That's my answer. Hopefully it was helpful.